I'm Lilian Wawero and welcome to Africa Arise. We're coming to you from Nairobi County in Kenya. This is a news analysis and commentary program that will focus on global hard-hitting topics from across the world. Here are some of the global stories making headlines today. Police brutality, a global phenomenon. Seared into the minds of society are victims of police brutality. Rodney King, Michael Brown, Alton Sterling, to name a few. These are some of the specific American police brutality cases that made national and international headlines. Other nations are suffering from a corrupt police force as well. As new videos of police brutality are constantly released and quickly spread throughout all platforms of media, the public awareness of police corruption is increasing like never before. Nonetheless, the problem continues to act as a leading issue across the globe while expressing no signs of development. Arms trade, a major cause of suffering. The arms trade is a major cause of human rights abuse. Some governments spend more on military expenditure than on social development, communications infrastructure, and health combined. While every nation has the right and the need to ensure its security in these changing times, arms requirement and procurement processes may need to change too. From economic wars to terrorism, a daunting to-do list for France's next president. Winning the election is just the start of it. The list of troublesome issues facing the next president of France is lengthy and it will not be easy to solve any of them. Not only is the security situation worrying, the country has been in a state of emergency since the 2015 Paris attacks, but the economy is in trouble and the rate of unemployment high. Today's main focus will be on police brutality and how it has become a major global phenomenon. Cases of police brutality in Kenya have increased considerably. Although these cases have occurred separately, it is quite clear what the problem is. Our police are using excessive and unprecedented force. Such in the case of Meru student leader Evans Njoroge, who was shot dead by police officers, as well as students from the University of Nairobi who were brutally attacked by law enforcement. We'll be right back after this break. Reach out to us on my Twitter handle at Njerilil Wawero using the hashtag AfricaArise and share your views and comments on this as we continue with the discussion. At Kagwanja Kevin says, there are more cases of police brutality happening in schools as well as others happening outside school. The political season also comes with more unnerving cases of police brutality. Thank you so much, Kevin, for sharing. That is absolutely true. Now on to our feature story by our very own field correspondent, June Lois.
Police brutality continues to receive public attention in the media as well in academic forums. However, despite of its broad-reaching implications, the global community has yet to recognize police brutality as a global health issue. Both public and commentary and academic research on police brutality has been country-specific and framed as a localized rather than a global phenomenon. This previous lack of global focus may be attributed to the complex causes of police brutality, which very often are linked to geographical location as well as specific nation divergent social, economic, and legal as well as criminal justice systems. However, it must be acknowledged that even though police brutality is caused by a number of circumstantial factors, this in reality is rooted in power differences relative to socially constructed hierarchies such as socio-economic status, race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, political party, and religion, with most vulnerable population in a given society at the greatest risk. Police brutality is a global issue. Although some nations encounter more violence than others, it will be beneficial for the safety of everyone if police brutality became reduced worldwide.
I have encountered police brutality during the last year's elections. After they were almost concluding, there was unrest in my area, and during this time, it was at night, and on this day, there was just unrest around our area, and so most of the young girls and women, we decided to go and seek refuge in a church. I was one of them, and I was in that church. So while we were there hiding, at least trusting that we were safe, the police came. In our minds, we knew that it was something better, but instead of the police like staying outside to protect us, they started banging the iron sheet church. The church was made of iron sheets. So when they were banging the iron sheets, the walls of the church, most of us women decided to come out, and because we were scared, we didn't know what was happening. All the police could do was start beating us. Some of them would grab us and they would hit us. Like personally, I was hit on my leg, and since then I have never really recovered.
No, I haven't encountered police brutality because I know the police are there to protect and serve. And you know, if you haven't done anything, why should the police come and, beat you up or anything?
We have seen how policemen handle civilians, and the worst thing is that nothing is done about them. It's only in very few cases when maybe an issue or a video is escalated and maybe the public has so much rage that maybe you'll see action being taken. But so far, there are no measures that have been put in place to stop policemen from harassing civilians.
People are the ones who provoke the police. If you go there throwing stones, calling them names, definitely they are going to attack you. And that's when people start saying that that's police brutality. No, it's not. They are doing their work. You're provoking them.
When all this is happening, it's in the radio stations, it's in the television, it's in the newspapers, it's all over, it's on social media. So I feel they are very much aware of what their colleagues are doing and how they're handling civilians. And personally, even the most shocking thing was after the just concluded August 8th elections, the President of Kenya, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, came out to give congratulations to the police, saying that the boys had done a good job. For me, for lack of a better word, this was just disheartening because all of us had witnessed how the police had conducted themselves during these elections. We had heard of Baby Pendo who was attacked by police.
There's no evidence to show that the police were there. We have no footage. They took a video.
We have heard of students, young teenagers who had been shot, who had been killed by the same police. So for me, I think they are aware, very much aware, but the saddest part is they're not taking responsibility and they're just turning a blind eye. Once the Interior Cabinet Secretary admits, once the President admits, once the police themselves, because I know it's not all of them who take part in this brutality, but once they come together and agree that, hey, we are facing this problem and we need to change how we're handling civilians, I think it's going to change. If there are any cases reported of brutality and they come out true, I think it's very important that the first thing is maybe their badges should be taken away from them and they should face the law. This has been a controversial matter. Police should find better ways of handling civilians in unrest.
It's not a matter of it being justified. They're doing their job. If you're there being unruly, they're justified to go there and stop you. But however, if you're peaceful, you never see them, coming to manhandle you.
So for me personally, I think during the unrest, it's police who normally contribute more because their intention is not normally to protect civilians or anyone who is trying to demonstrate, but rather attack them.
Why do you think that most people do not agree with you?
Because they're in denial. Because they know they're doing something wrong. If you're doing something right, okay, why are the police not here? Because you're doing something right. But if you know you're in the wrong, you'll never accept it. Instead, you'll start, judging or putting blame on other people. And that's not the case. Take responsibility of your actions.
Reporting for Africa Arise, I am Juno Chieng.
We'll now be joined by our feature correspondent, June Lois, who will tell us the situation on the ground. Welcome, June. Now, June, you got to interact with two people with completely different stances on how police should handle cases of unruliness or unrest. Did any of the responses surprise you?
Thank you very much, Lillian. It was quite interesting to get to hear the two sides of the story of both Jemima and Alexis. And what made it actually quite interesting was the fact that Alexis does not agree that police brutality is an issue that needs to be addressed. I, for one, do not agree with her. This is an issue that needs to be addressed with immediate effect, and the people in the right respective positions in the government and both even globally should look into this matter. Back to you, Lillian.
Thank you so much, June, for that feature. We'll be right back after the break. I think one thing that we should all agree on is that police should never be in a position where they are using excessive and unprecedented force. Back on social media, remember to reach us at Njeri Lil Wawero using the hashtag AfricaArise as we continue with this discussion. And Alexis Musyoki says, it's about time we start addressing the rising cases of police brutality. You're watching Africa Arise with me, Lilian Wawero. On to our head-on segment, today we'll be joined by Collins Orono, who's the chairperson of the Students' Communication Committee at Daystar, and Abed Oraga, who is a social activist, as we discuss the rising incidences of police brutality. Welcome to our show. Collins, if I may start with you, what is your understanding of police brutality?
I think this is when police use a lot of force in executing their duties, and in most cases we see police brutality resulting to people, deaths, and also use of forceful force. Yeah.
Police brutality is anything that the police might do that is against their regulations in operation, especially when dealing with riots.
Do you think that this is a legal issue?
Yes. Legally, it's illegal for police to use force because when before the 2010 constitution in Kenya, the police, it was called a force. Now after 2010, it was changed to a service. So a service basically means you have to offer service to people. You don't have to use force when executing your roles. So in a way, it's illegal to use force. That is why most of our police officers that have been engaged in police brutality have been put under investigation by IPOA, that is the Independent Police Oversight Body.
It is a problem because rules are being broken. That's why legality comes in. The only time you can define or differentiate something being legal or not legal is the fact that there are rules and someone has broken them.
What about the government? Do you think that it has taken measures to stop police brutality?
It's evident that the police have been brutalizing Kenyans, but the government has done nothing in stopping it. Though we have been seeing the IPOA working hard to ensure that those who engage in police in brutality are taken action, but we rarely see action taken.
Theoretically, yeah, but according to IPOA statistics, the one they just released like last month, it is so depressing that even people have died just because of police brutality, and the government hasn't done anything about it. Because we just hear, but we haven't seen anything tangible of supporting that claim.
What police brutality in institutions of higher learning has become a topic of recent controversy. What are your thoughts on this?
In a way, the government has failed in protecting comrades or students, university students. And we see it's important for these people to know that when students go to protest, there is a problem somewhere and that needs to be solved. And that is the only channel they can use for them to seek for attention from government and those people, the authorities responsible. So for our officers, our own officers, that the people we expect to protect us, when they use force against us, then it means we have a problem with our systems. It's wrong. And I think our leaders must stand up and speak against these vices, because the more it happens, the more many people get to suffer. and the fruits of this brutality will come to be seen later on.
It is so disappointing that it's happening, especially in higher learning institutions, and people are ignoring. Some university students don't even want to join those universities that go through police brutality. A good example is when we saw it on TV about UN. Everyone was talking about it, but not doing anything about it.
Still on institutions of higher learning, let's talk about anti-riot police. Do you think that it is necessary to use them in institutions of higher learning, especially in cases of unrest and uncivil, unruly behavior?
One, it's wrong to use to have anti-riot police in campus. When you use force now against an innocent person, it becomes a legal issue, and that is infringing the rights of expression and all that. So it's very important for the government and the authorities to know that using police, anti-riot police, where it's unnecessary, it's wrong.
I don't think it's necessary. I think we can find other means of making or controlling riots. I think it's, at the end of the day, picketing, rioting, protesting, is a constitutional right. So it should be upon the constitution for it to protect we the protesters, we the picketers. So unless we come to terms with the fact that the protesters should not be beaten up, rather they should be protected, they should be facilitated. So until we come to that point, we still have a very long way to go.
Thank you very much. A very special thanks to both Collins and Oraga for joining us today and sharing your views and comments. On to today's segment of The Verdict, I'll conclude by saying the first step of recovery is acknowledging you have a problem. As a country, we have a problem. Globally, we have a huge problem. Police brutality has reached epidemic proportions. Raising great discussions. That's what we do here at Africa Arise. Make sure to join us and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Africa Arise. And you could also reach out to us using my Twitter handle at Njerilil Wawero using the hashtag Africa Arise. Thank you for watching. I am Lilian Wawero.